Hi students, welcome to JP Physics Academy. First of all, very good morning to all of you. So thanks for your supporting me. Now today we are going to discuss about that measurements. Okay. So at a time the total lesson will not complete by a single video only. That's why we schedule it as a number of parts. Part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4, likewise. So when we are starting from the poor basics onwards in the part 1, part 2, part 3, part 4. Okay, so when you are increasing the number of parts, automatically the content and intensity and standard value of that lesson also increasing. Okay, Andy. So now let's go to begin the class. Today's our class is measurements. Today's our class is measurements. Now we are going to discuss and we are going to beginning from that measurements lesson. So first of all, what do you mean by measurements? How do the physics defines the measurements? Okay. So what is meant by measurements from when you are wake up onwards? From your wake up onwards to when you go to the bed, in the daily life, in our daily we are measuring the number of quantities, number of things also. The many things, many situations we use these measurements without you, without your knowledge. Okay, now so where do we use this one? First suppose there are two pens only. Okay, now first suppose there are two pens or two lines. First suppose, okay, there are two lines, line 1 and line 2. Okay, now two lines are there. If I ask you which one is the longer line and which one is the shorter line, immediately you can tell us. You can definitely you can tell me. Okay, sir, first number line is the longer than the second number line, sir, as well as the second number line is shorter than first number line. How do you say? This is also one of the measurement. Okay, now so if you are succeed to know about this one, definitely you can understand that measurement, the simple definition. What is that? So the comparison of the two bodies is called measurement. Okay, Andy? The comparison of the two bodies is called measurements. So when you compare this first line with the second line, we can say this is the longer line, as well as when you compare this second line with the first line, we can say this is the shorter line. So students, I hope you understand what is the definition of the measurements. Measurements means simple, the definition is the comparison of the two bodies in entire universe, everywhere, wherever. Okay, na? The comparison of the two bodies is called measurements. So when we begin to know about these measurements, majorly we should know about the quantity, because of this entire the physics world. The entire the physics world will be depending upon this quantity. We are discussing about the sorry, we are discussing about the quantity, we are discussing about the physics. It means that we are discussing about the quantities only. First of all, let us try to know about the quantity. What is meant by quantity? What do you mean by quantity? How do you define the quantity? Quantity means that just amount, size, the amount, size, numbers. Okay, now the quantity, the definition of the quantity means the size or the number. Okay, now size or number is called as quantity. For suppose it has some quantity. This is the quantity, because of physically we can appear whatever the things we can appear physically with our naked eye. All those things belongs to the quantities only. So when we discuss about the size or number, it means that we can appear that one. That's why we call it as a quantity. The quantity means that the number or size of the body is called as quantity. So based on the nature, the quantity broadly classified into two types only. Okay, now broadly classified into two types. What are those? The first one is physical quantity. The first one is physical quantity, as well as the second quantity is non-physical quantity. Non-physical quantity. Okay, so let us try to know that each and every one. What is meant by physical quantity? Friends, have you understood this one? The quantity means size or number of the object or body is called sorry, quantity. So based on the nature, quantity is broadly classified into two types. Those are, first one is the physical quantity, second one is the non-physical quantity. Students, the definition of the physical quantity we can understand by our common sense. Okay, now let me tell you that definition of the physical quantity by use a simple method, simple terminology and simple tips. Okay, what is meant by physical quantity? If we have the common sense, then by common sense we can understand this one. Physical quantity means a physically appeared quantity. Means physically, when you appear the physically, when you appear the body as a uh, genuinely when you appear this physical quantity, when you appear the quantity as a physically, then we can measure that one. Then we can measure that one. Means the quantity which can be measurable is called, the quantity which can be measurable is called physical quantity. So if you know that physical quantity, automatically we can say about the non-physical quantity. What do you mean by non-physical quantity? Non-physical quantity means the quantity which cannot be measurable. The quantity which cannot be not measurable is called non-physical quantity. Once again, students, physical quantity means the quantity which can be measurable. Physical quantity, the quantity can appear physically. When you appear that quantity as a physically, definitely we can measure that one. So physical quantity means the quantity which can be measurable is called physical quantity, and the non-physical quantity means the quantity which cannot be measurable is called non-physical quantity. Okay, Andy? Then again physical quantities. Again physical quantities. Okay, and again physical quantities are broadly classified into three types. First one is that fundamental physical quantity. Fundamental physical quantity. And second one is derived physical quantity. Derived physical quantity. And third one is supplementary physical quantity. Supplementary physical quantity. So we are discussing about the physics. It means that we are discussing about these physical quantities only, not about the non-physical quantities. Because of when you are possible to measure the quantity, then only we can say, okay, this is some height, some length, some breadth, some thickness, everywhere, every dimension we can measure them. We can say about that body, but it is not possible to measure. That's why physics will not explain about this non-physical quantities. Physics can only explain about the physical quantities. Okay, ma? These are invisible quantities. Okay, ma? These are visible quantities. These are invisible quantities. Physical quantities can explain about the visible quantities. Non-physical quantity can explain about the invisible physical quantities. So, in the case of invisible physical quantities, we can't possible to apply any physics rules and laws in this case. That's why no need to discuss about the non-physical quantities. Let us discuss about the physical quantities only. Okay. In the next class, we will continue of this. We will discuss about the fundamental physical quantities and derived physical quantities and supplementary physical quantities only. Okay. Have a great day, students. If you like the video, please share and like this video and subscribe our channel. Thank you. Have a good day.